Sometimes the boldest move you can make is to step away, not to run, but to transform. Right now, you're likely feeling drained by the constant noise, endless opinions, and the pressure to always be present, always be heard. But what if real strength doesn't come from doing more, but from doing less? We've been sold the idea that silence means weakness, that if you're not constantly visible, you're falling behind. That's false. A man who willingly walks out of the spotlight to train, to build, to grow in the dark, that man becomes dangerous without needing applause. This isn't just another motivational message. It's a deeper call, a challenge to let go of your ego, to detach from distractions, to realize that sometimes the most powerful move isn't charging forward, it's stepping back with intention. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This isn't about disappearing to hide. It's about cutting the noise, letting go of the need for validation, and choosing discipline over attention. It's about building yourself so quietly and solidly that when you return, nothing can shake you. To disappear is to choose clarity over chaos. It's the start of becoming unstoppable. Part 1. Why the world fears disappearance. We live in a world that worships presence, constant updates, endless exposure. The system doesn't reward your peace, it rewards your performance. You're expected to be always online, always available, always loud. But here's what no one tells you. Visibility without identity is a form of slavery. If you're constantly performing for others, you never figure out who you are when no one's watching. That's why disappearing shakes people. Not because it's wrong, but because it forces a confrontation with yourself, with the silence, with everything you've been avoiding under the noise. Disappearing strips away the roles you play. It's not comfortable. It's raw. It pulls off the social mask, the persona you've built to survive. And once that's gone, what's left? Just you. And for a lot of people, that's terrifying. See, we've been conditioned to believe that if you're not being seen, you're not progressing. That if you're not active, you're falling behind. But that's not truth, it's control. The system feeds on your reaction, your participation, your constant presence. Because a man who's always reacting is easy to guide. But the man who disappears on purpose, the one who walks away from all the noise, not because he's broken, but because he's building, that man is dangerous. When you pull back, you start to feel something stir inside. It's not weakness, it's not fear, it's fire. That's the ego starting to burn. That's the part of you that was addicted to attention, to validation, starting to lose its grip. And yeah, it'll fight, it'll scream, it'll tell you you're falling off, being forgotten, left behind. But let it scream. Because on the other side of that silence is the version of you that doesn't need the world's permission to be powerful. Part 2. The ego must die. The second you step back, the ego starts losing its mind. It's been fed by noise, likes, applause, attention, constant comparison. That's its fuel. Cut off that supply, and the ego starts to choke. It panics. It doesn't care if you're fulfilled. It doesn't care if you're actually growing or healing. The ego only wants to be seen. It only feels safe when it's being validated. So when the attention fades, it starts screaming, "You're slipping. You're being forgotten. You're falling behind." But that's not truth. That's fear dressed up as urgency. Stoicism flips that script. Marcus Aurelius said, "It's not death a man should fear, but never truly living." And the truth is, until you let the ego die, you haven't even started living. But let's be clear, ego death isn't some poetic, peaceful thing. It hurts. It feels like a breakup, like you're losing your identity. And in a way you are, but only the version of you that was built to please the world. When you disappear, you start noticing things you'd been blind to. How much time you spent managing an image. How many decisions you made just to be more likable, more on brand, more digestible. You weren't showing up. You were editing yourself to fit a feed. Epictetus said it straight. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation: growth doesn't always look good, especially when the ego's watching. But when you step off the stage, when there's no more audience to impress, you finally have space to fall apart and rebuild without judgment. That's freedom. Let the ego scream. Let it go through withdrawal, because what comes next is solid, quiet, true. When the costume burns, what's left is the man underneath, the one who no longer needs applause to feel power, the one who doesn't need noise to know his worth. That's the shift. That's the foundation for what's next. Stillness. Because once the ego's out of the way, you stop chasing everything, and you finally have space to build something that can't be shaken. Part 3. The power of stillness and solitude. Disappearing isn't checking out. It's not weakness. It's an intentional move, a shift from noise to purpose. Stillness isn't doing nothing. It's doing the real work, the internal work. It's where you stop reacting and start aligning. In a world that idolizes urgency, movement, and constant output, stillness is a rebellion. It's you saying, "I'm done running. I'm done proving. I'm grounding myself." And when the ego finally dies down, when the external noise fades, what's left is silence. But that silence, that's where you finally start to hear your own voice again. That's where strategy is born. Vision, clarity. Solitude strips away all the filters. It removes the pressure to be anything but honest. No posturing, no pretending, just you, without the performance. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those you can improve. The process is mutual. But if no one around you meets that standard, you don't lower yours. You step back. Because being alone is better than surrounding yourself with people who dilute your focus, your discipline, your drive." Solitude isn't loneliness. It's you choosing presence over performance. It's choosing to sharpen instead of entertain. While everyone else is scrambling to stay seen, you're building what can't be ignored. While they chase attention, you're building direction. And that man, the one who can sit with his own mind for hours, who can train, read, plan, sweat, and grow without needing to broadcast it, he becomes dangerous. Not loud, not flashy, but focused. Stillness teaches patience. It strengthens your ability to delay gratification. It gives you the discipline to ignore distractions. It quiets the ego and fuels the fire. Because when you've been away long enough and you come back with something real, people pay attention. But stillness isn't the finish line. It's the forge. It's the place where something sharp, something strong, something true is being shaped. And when it's ready, you won't have to announce it. They'll feel it when you walk in the room. Part 4. How to disappear strategically. This isn't about running away. It's about stepping up with clarity. By now you've seen it. The fear of being unseen, the ego unraveling, the power that lives in stillness. So the question is, what do you do with that? You disappear with intent, not out of burnout, not out of anger, but because you're done pouring energy into things that don't give anything back. You're not checking out, you're locking in. This is a reset, a recalibration, a clean break from the noise that's been running your life on autopilot. Start by cutting the weight. Unfollow accounts that fuel insecurity or comparison. Mute conversations that leave you drained. Say no, not to be difficult, but because your focus is expensive now. You don't ghost the world, you walk away from what's keeping you average. Then replace the noise with substance. Wake up before the world starts talking. Write until your mind gets quiet. Read something that makes you uncomfortable. Train until your doubts sweat out of your system. This isn't about isolation, it's about alignment. You're not escaping people. You're choosing presence. You're not going off the grid. You're going inward to recalibrate, to rebuild. And while you move in silence, people will wonder, where did he go? Is something wrong? Did he give up? Let them wonder, because they're not seeing the real story. They don't see the sharpening, the cutting away, the preparation. You're not stepping back. You're pulling the bowstring. And when you let go, it's going to hit different. Strategic disappearance is a cocoon, not a collapse. It's where the next version of you is being carved, by your own hands, not shaped by the expectations of others. And when you step back into the world, you won't come back to chase attention. You'll return with weight, with direction, with power. Because now it's not just about being unseen, it's about becoming someone the world can't shake, shape, or silence. Part 5. Becoming undefeatable. You don't become undefeatable by shouting louder. You get there by becoming solid, quiet, unshakable. And before you can reach that kind of strength, you have to go through the real work. You've stepped away from the noise. You've dismantled the ego. You've sat with the silence and built from the ground up. Now you don't rise to prove anything. You rise to show, not with noise, but with presence. The man who can't be shaken isn't reactive. He doesn't flinch when judged. He doesn't crumble under pressure. Why? Because he's not holding on to anything that can be taken from him. His worth isn't on display, it's internal. His path isn't controlled by the noise. It's his, and he's already walked through fire to claim it. Like Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. That's your armor, your restraint, your stability, your refusal to be pulled into every fight, every opinion, every performance. The undefeatable man doesn't need to react. He reads the room, sees the angles, and moves when it matters. He doesn't waste energy defending what no longer defines him. And the way you get there? It's not by adding more. It's by letting go of everything that used to run you. The need to be seen, the pressure to be liked, the addiction to proving, to chasing, to reacting. You don't become unbreakable by becoming harder. You become unbreakable by becoming free. Free from the need to be understood. Free from the need to respond. Free from the cycle of external validation. This is what the whole journey has built toward. Disappearance taught you to detach. Ego death taught you what's real. Stillness taught you discipline. Strategy gave you structure. Now all of that fuses together, not into volume, but into weight, into a presence that doesn't beg for attention. It demands it just by existing. This isn't about winning battles anymore. This is about becoming the kind of man who doesn't have to fight because he's no longer playing the game that breaks everyone else. You don't walk back into the world to reclaim a spot. You step forward with something real, a presence that turns heads because it's not performance. It's power, quiet, earned, unshakable. You've disappeared. You've stripped it all down. You've rebuilt. Now you become. Now you get it. Disappearing was never about weakness. It was about strength, quiet strength, the kind that doesn't flex, it builds. You didn't walk away to escape anything. You walked away to rise on your own terms. You didn't go silent because you had nothing left. You went silent because what you're working on is too real, too raw, too important to be shared with people who don't get it yet. And when you come back, you won't need to announce anything. You'll show up different, heavier, focused, present. The ones who disappear with intention, they return with results. Let the world keep chasing noise. Let them exhaust themselves trying to stay relevant. You've chosen something different, the uncommon path, the quiet path, the one that leads to something solid. So go, disappear with purpose, return with power, and become the kind of man who doesn't just survive the world, he moves through it, undefeatable. Subscribe for more content like this. No fluff, no noise, just sharp insight for those walking the uncommon path. Your next chapter starts in silence.